What's going on, people? Looks like this thing is live, according to that big red ticker in the top corner there. So I'm not going to take up too much time. That's usually the intent. Oh, come mute this. That's usually the intent to just kind of let this thing go as quickly as it can, right? Not drag it all out. So I got some stuff over here. Going to open this up, share some thoughts, do the whole thing that I normally would do, but with significantly less quality. That's for sure, right? Because when I do the reviews and stuff, they're usually like pretty decent looking, right? The substance involved, that's kind of hit and miss. Honestly, I mean, I do the editing. I see how these things come out, but whatever. Today, since this happens to be alive, I don't have to worry about the quality and such. I just need to get this stuff opened up so I can move on about the day, right? And that says L. Jones and Keith Kahn 2.0. Hello to both of you. So, I'm going to set that box down there. So, first up, right, got this right here. This is a blue Nike box. It's a Jordan 1 box, right? Some of you may have seen these before because this isn't exactly new. It's actually kind of old at this point, to be completely honest. But let's go ahead and get it all opened up and whatnot, right? See what's going on in here. I mean, a lot of you know what's going on in here, but I've never seen them up close. So this is my first time taking this in. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the UNC Toe Jordan 1, right? One of the things I don't like about the Jordan 1 is that, see how they're not laced? Yeah, not a huge fan of that. Because, like, I don't like lacing shoes. People are always like, oh, like, I think this would look cool with the lace swap, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not lace swapping anything. I did it like once or twice, right? For sure once with those purple, core purple ones, right? And that may that may have been it. That may have been the only time. And that's like document. I did that for a video, I don't just do it for recreation. Anyways, moving along, right? So these right here are actually looking pretty decent. I do kind of wish I had my was like the UNC something or others on hand right now, but I don't. So you're just gonna have to deal with this because I don't like to go and get stuff. You know what I'm saying? I work with what I have. Either way, I did like those a lot. Those came out in like 2019. These I feel like are quite similar, just with a different sort of blue, obviously. Material wise, I'm not going to speak on it too much, but it seems fine to me, right? But, my standards are fairly low when it comes to that. And I don't have a whole lot to go by because I don't buy a lot of these, right? So I'm an Air Max dude, but I've been thinking about getting some ones. I would say you're not missing anything. These are largely uncomfortable, and most people buy them only for the look. That's the thing I tell myself. Like, I used to buy a lot of ones. I never was really like a huge fan of them, but a lot of them look kind of cool, right? And then I'd wear them, and I'm like, why do I buy these things? These are awful, you know? Because I'm an Air Max guy myself. That's why that picture is up there in the corner, right? Either way, so I don't know. I would suggest, like, rather than taking the random advice of some dude on the internet that you don't really know, Jordan ones are available in stores a lot of the time in mids and highs and lows. See what fits you as far as the visual appeal. Try them on, see what you think of how you like your shoes to fit and all that stuff, and go from there. It's a little easier that way than just buying something and hoping for the best. But all in all, these I do like them a lot, right? And that's the thing. I don't buy the Jordan ones a whole lot unless they stand out to me. And these stood out to me. I even put in some extra effort to make this happen. It actually happened while I was in line waiting on Comic Con to open for the day. So I was between doing this and I think making a pre-order for a Muhammad Ali figure. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on that morning. I think that was the same morning. Okay, so let's move on from that because I have another pair of shoes here and I'm going to talk about them instead because I'd rather talk about them instead, right? If you have questions, I guess you can leave them down below or whatever. But let's go ahead and get on in here. This actually comes from a store, believe it or not. I don't get a whole lot of in-store pickups and whatnot, but every so often things work out. And the weird thing is, and you'll see these in a second, they're those purple and black 12s, right? The weird thing is, these things are not moving on the old internet, right? This looks like a weird purple in the screen, right? But in person, it's a very purple, sort of purple, right? A lot darker than it looks like, because that looks like a washed out sort of blue, right? So again, that's why I do real reviews where like you can actually see what things look like. But either way, so this is actually a nice dark purple, like a nice grape sort of color, right? Anyways, these were not moving on the old internet. These here field purple 12s. And I was like, oh, that's kind of surprising. And then I thought about it, I'm like, okay, so why is it that when I put in these raffles on little Champs and Foot Locker thing, I won from the farthest possible store, right? So it took some effort to make this happen, but whatever. Either way, they're here now, so let's talk about it. Like I said, this right here, Field Purple Jordan 12. Right now, I'm a big fan of the Jordan 12. It's my favorite Jordan. Is it yours? Probably not. A lot of people are okay with them, but they don't hide them and hold them in as high regard, and I totally get that, right? Especially when there's so many to choose from. But I was looking at these, and I'm like, I don't know if I really want these or not. Like, I'm honestly just kind of not sure, especially after like the black and the orange one. I was like, because I skipped out on that one, and then I wasn't sure about this one, but I went with it because I buy 12s whenever they come out for the most part, if they're men's size. And looking at them now and getting that brief glimpse in the store, I am totally okay with these. And yeah, there's a little bias in there because, like I said, I'm a big fan of 12s. I'm also a big fan of purple. So there is that. But at least to me, and maybe to you if you're into 12s and such, there's something to have in the collection, right? So I'll break these out at some point, whenever makes sense, but give you some close ups, kind of, sort of. Either way, so this time around, it's going to be all like the leather, the normal treatment, none of that weird canvasy type material or any of that other like suede or nubuck, nothing like that. Just your standard stuff, which I super appreciate, and it feels decent. Got a little bit of gold going on up there, a little bit of gold on the back end as well. Got some 2-3 action going down the middle, right, with a Jumpman guy at the top. So a lot of standard things. And then on the bottom, you have a little black and yellow grid sort of action happening in the middle, right? I really like the way this thing looks. I don't know why it is, but every time I see that, it's like one of the coolest things in the world to me. But all in all, that's what we're looking at here, right? Now, I do have another pair of 12s here, because I was going to do a quick comparison. They're also a pair of black and more or less purple 12s. They call them dark concord, but it is what it is. Because I was curious to see what these looked like. So I should have pulled out those other ones that I was talking about as well, but I didn't. Either way, so this, it's kind of a shiny sort of purple there. It looks very blue in the picture, but just trust me on that. It is actually purple. And then same with the top piece. Now, I like these a fair amount, even though they're very plain and similar to those ones that I just talked down on, the Taxi 12s. So this one, I'm glad they didn't do this type of material on these because I'm overall just not a fan of it. I mean, it looks okay, but it feels awful, kind of, sort of. And it just looks dirty sometimes, like when I say it looks okay, like from a distance, once you get up on it, it's like, oh no, definitely better to go leather. But either way, so I was wondering if these were going to be fairly similar at all, and luckily they're not. There's a few shades difference in the purples that they chose, so I'm a huge fan of when things aren't too similar because then it makes me wonder, did I really need to get both of these? And in this case, yes, I did need to get both of these. So there's that for you. And that's going to be it for me. I covered everything I needed to cover. Oh, one more thing. I've worn a lot of 12s, and I will say that those do run a little bit big. But again, it's a 12. They don't come out a whole lot. So if you see one in stores, just go ahead and try it on and then wait for like the one that you like to come around and then buy that one, right? Just take advantage of what's around you. Either way, that's going to be it for me. So from me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I'll be back sooner or later with actual content and whatnot. One last thing that I need to do is hold these things up so I can get me a nice little thumbnail. So that way I don't actually have to take a picture later. So it's one of those things I usually do on the old Instagram, but I don't often think about it on the YouTube side of things because usually I just take a picture and call it a day. That's what you saw when you clicked on this thing. You know what I'm saying? But either way, so there's that. Thanks again for everybody that popped in here. I do appreciate it. And now we can all move on and do something more productive with our days, right? So later, people.